What's good, everybody? Will Frazier here, your credit and business expert, bringing you tips you need to get your credit back on track, because what goes down must come up. And if you don't want your credit score to drop 300 points, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you'll be notified of any new videos I drop, just like this one. And today we're going to be talking about that person that goes to pay money to have their credit score dropped or set back, which is not anything that any of you guys really want to have. So if you're still here right now listening to this video, then that tells me that you are probably in a situation where you need to get your credit up or get it to a certain number within a certain time frame or by a certain deadline. This could be because you need to get a new house for your family, for your growing family, like you have kids and stuff like that, or you just need to get to a new neighborhood that's going to be, safer, better school district, something better for the overall quality of life for your family. Or maybe you have a car that's on its last leg, it can break down at any moment, and you need to be ready to be able to purchase a new car if that is to happen, or you want to do it now before that happens. Or it could be another plethora of several other reasons that you want to increase your credit, and your time frame can be 3 months, it could be 6 months, it might be a year. Either way it goes, you're in a situation where you need to get your credit score up as quickly as possible. And more than likely, you're about to go and do the thing that pretty much everybody goes to do when they are in the situation of trying to increase their credit score. Of course, you want to try to take, the problem into your own hands and try to see what you can do to fix it as quickly as possible. And usually people try to go and throw money at the problem. But the problem with that is that even though that's what all of us have been taught to do, and while it is the noble and honorable thing to do to go ahead and pay off the debts that you owe, the problem is when you do that for certain accounts, it's going to affect your credit score in a negative way. Now, again, just to make sure I'm clear, paying your debts and liability for owing your debts has nothing to do with the part that I'm talking about, which is how much something affects your credit score, because usually things that we as people would deem a good action to take that should increase our credit score will actually lead to a contrary result, leading to a negative result where we think something positive should be happening. For example, most people think when they pay off their car loan that they're going to see a positive result to their credit score because they just paid off a debt, but usually people see a drop in their credit score after paying off a car loan. Most people don't know that. So just like that, I'm here to tell you that when you pay off certain debts, bad debts, it can actually hurt your credit score. And I know if you have a timeline that you're trying to reach, that you don't want something to happen to set you back and make, this already tough situation where it seems like, you're trying to swim up a waterfall, trying to get your credit to go to a good place. You don't want any extra setbacks or anything else to happen to make things harder for you and possibly change that timeline that you have, especially, if you're trying to do something, like getting a house for your kids' sake or something like that. So again, all this is to make sure to keep you on the fastest track to improving your credit with making as little mistakes as possible, to make sure that you don't get derailed and you can actually get to your result in a time frame, hopefully, that you're setting out to achieve that goal. Now, it's a few ways that you can actually spend your money in a way that's going to actually hurt your credit score in the long run. Again, as I mentioned, the most major way that people end up messing things up and getting themselves into a situation where they've shot themselves in the foot in regards to their credit is going to be when you try to go and pay off those collection accounts. So a lot of times this is the first thing people want to do. They have collection accounts on their credit. So when I'm saying collection accounts, what I'm referring to is it could be something like a medical bill. It could be something like a phone bill. It can be an apartment complex. It could be a payday loan. It's a whole bunch of different things that are under that collection account umbrella, but usually they will show up on your credit report as an account from a third party that you've never heard of, that you've never actually done business with, and they are holding that debt or reporting that debt for another company on your credit report. Now, when it comes to collections, again, this is a bad debt that if you pay it, it can cause your credit score to drop. Now, most of you guys are trying to go and pay them because you're thinking that if I pay this, they're going to remove it off of my credit report. And I'm just going to let you know that they don't have to remove anything. just because you paid it. This is a misconception that's out there with people thinking this, but it's not going to help you, because they're not going to remove this off of your credit report just because you paid it, and they don't have to. Now, there are some companies out there that might agree to remove it if you pay it, but 9 out of 10 companies don't do that, because they actually get in trouble with the bureaus for removing stuff just because you paid it, and again, they don't have to do it. So most companies aren't going to do it. Now, the reason why this would hurt your credit score with you paying it is because there are certain dates that are on each account on your credit report, and you making a payment triggers activity which can change a particular date on an account on your credit report, which would lead that to negatively affect your credit score by you making it look like recent activity on that account. Now, in some instances, this date may not change, and it may already be constantly being refreshed by the collection company to make sure that it is hurting your credit as much as possible. So when you make that payment, actually nothing happens. So it can be an account that's, $2,000, $1,000. You give them that money thinking that it's going to help your credit, and then you see absolutely no change in your credit score after coming out of pocket $1,000 or $2,000. Now, I've seen this happen with people that have done that before actually coming to me to talk to me about their credit, and I've seen some people actually sign up with me and then forgetting that I told them not to pay the collection account because it would affect their credit score, they go ahead and pay it. And it was one I saw as little as $50 on a person's credit report. They went and paid it because they was like, oh, it's just a little bit of money and it shouldn't hurt anything. And then they ended up losing about 50 or 60 points just from paying that collection account. Now, the amount of points you lose is going to vary based on the person's situation, but that's what I saw happen for that particular person, and it wasn't even that much money. So when you're paying off collection accounts, it can either drop your credit score or absolutely nothing will happen, and then it's kind of like you wasted your money, especially in regards to trying to get to the point where you're doing that action to try to get to the point or the goal that you're trying to achieve with your credit. And now there's also charge-offs. Now, charge-offs can be any account that you had with the original creditor and it ended up, going 90 days late or more, and then they closed the account. It still shows up on your credit report under the original creditor, like say Wells Fargo, Capital One, Discover, and you'll see that account with a past due balance on it and a balance amount that you owe and probably some late payments. So you go ahead and pay that off. Now, usually the dates on that are, usually older depending on how old it is. So the older the charge off is, the more likely it is to affect your credit score and do some damage to you. So with charge offs, it might not hurt you as much when it first happens, when you do pay it off, but the charge off will still be affecting you a lot based on the late payments that are hitting your credit report anyway. So you paying that one might not affect you as much date wise unless it gets a little bit older, like if it's a year or more older from the date that the account actually closed. And a charge off can be anything like a car loan, a regular personal loan, it can be a credit card, any of these types of loans or credit that might have been extended to you from an original creditor. So yes, just like with the collections, the charge-offs can still affect your credit in a negative way. And also, the original creditor is not going to take it off your credit report just because you paid it. They're going to leave it on there. No matter what you call and say, they don't have to take it off your credit report, and most of them do not take them off for most of the reasons that you're gonna call in and try to say to them on why you would like them to remove it. The only thing they're obligated to do is change the balance because you paid the amount to the creditor. Now, outside of that, there are a few other things that I see people try to do when they're trying to improve their credit, and that might be going to pay a debt settlement company to try to pay off these debts for them. Now, usually what happens is if you're trying to use a debt settlement company to try to pay off closed accounts like collections and charge-offs, you're going to see the same effect happen to your credit score. Usually with debt settlement, you're paying a certain amount to them. They keep putting the money, in an account and putting it to the side until they're ready to reach out to try to settle the debts for you. And their goal is to try to settle the debts for less on your behalf. But basically, when you're looking at that situation where they're basically taking money from you over time to try to pay off these accounts, it's still going to have the same effect, because it doesn't matter if it's you paying it off or if it's a debt settlement company paying it off. If you're paying off the account, it will affect your credit score in a negative way. Or just as bad, you pay out all this money and then your credit score doesn't move at all. Because even if a debt settlement company does this for you, the companies still don't have to take it off of your credit report. So that first rule that I mentioned to you still holds true. Just because you paid it doesn't mean they have to remove it. Another thing that people try to do is they try to get a debt consolidation loan to try to consolidate all those bad debts. So first off, if your credit isn't in a good place and it's a very low score or something like that, and you have a lot of damage to your credit report, it's going to be hard to even get approved for a loan to even try to do that. But if you did find a place that would approve you for a loan to try to pay off these debts, what's going to happen is the same effect that I mentioned previously. You're paying off the debts. The action of paying off these types of debts is actually going to hurt your credit score. Again, it doesn't matter which method you use to pay off the accounts. If you're paying off the accounts, it will still have the same effect on your credit score. So now in a second, we're going to talk about what accounts you should pay off and also what you can do about those accounts that don't benefit you to try to pay them off. But first off, let me say that if you guys do have a lot of questions when it comes to dealing with your credit report, I do have a free ebook down in the description of this video. It's called The Top Credit Questions, and you can go to that ebook for a lot of information or questions that you might have been asking about your credit and what to do in certain situations or how certain situations affect you in regards to your credit. And that ebook has a lot of the answers already in there for you. That ebook is still free right now, so go ahead and check it out in the description. Get it for free, get your credit questions answered, and then hopefully get to a better path on your credit a lot faster than trying to figure things out on your own or going through all of the random conflicting information that's out there on the internet. And if you need more help than that, don't forget you can also set up a credit consultation with me down in the description as well. So, go ahead and check that out if you just want some one-on-one attention to your individual credit situation. We'll go over your credit reports. All you have to pay is $1 for the credit reports, and then we'll take things from there. And after that, you'll have a full game plan or plan of action to take from that consultation and know what to do, or you can let us help you with those situations for you. But now back to the topic at hand. What should you do, or what situations should you actually pay off accounts on your credit report when you're trying to increase your credit score to achieve a goal? Well, the only accounts that actually benefit your credit score to pay down or to pay off would be a situation where you're paying off open accounts. Now, this is really going to be applying to credit cards because credit cards will not close after you have used them. A loan will close after you have paid it off. So basically that is why when you pay off a car loan, it can actually drop your credit score. Or if you pay off any loan, it can actually drop your credit score because the account closes after you have actually paid it off. Now, loans do still have the benefit for building credit, but usually in most situations, you're going to want to try to build credit with a credit card because they won't close when you pay them off, and they give you a really big boost in benefit when you pay them down or pay them off. But those are the type of accounts that you want to pay on. Now, of course, if you have a car loan or a personal loan that you're behind on, it's probably adding late payments to your credit. So you definitely want to go ahead and pay that up and get current on it, not just, get up by 1 month if you're behind by 3 months, because in that situation, they can still keep adding late payments to your credit. So what you want to do is you want to continue to get that current by all 3 months if you're behind 3 months, so that they can stop adding late payments and you stop the bleeding. Now, that's going to be the situations that you want to actually try to pay stuff off that's on your credit to benefit your credit score. So now, let's say you're in that situation where you don't have those open accounts that actually would benefit you to pay down, and you actually want to know what you can do to try to deal with these accounts that are hurting your credit score so that you can try to get to your goal. Well, the very important steps that you want to take in order to get to a better place is going to be, you want to go get your credit reports first off. You want to make sure that you are looking at all of the details on those accounts, because more than likely it's going to be some items on there that aren't accurate on your credit report. Because if you didn't know, like 72% of people's credit reports have errors on them. And even though you can't get an account removed because you paid it, you can have an account removed because of errors that are on the credit report. So basically, you want to see if there's anything that's disputable on the credit report. Now, this can be an easy process, just looking at things and seeing obvious errors. It can get deeper than that, where you can have more ammo to use to try to get these accounts off of your credit report. But more than likely, there might be some common errors and mistakes that you can point out, and that might be the thing to win you the opportunity to get something off your credit report that's negatively affecting you and is also inaccurate, which the law says everything on your credit report must be accurate. And accuracy has nothing to do with it being yours. It's dealing with the pieces of information on that account on your credit report. So the very first thing that you want to do is to try to see if you can identify anything that would help you to be able to dispute this account, and then possibly get it off of your credit report. And then, because your credit score is a calculation of the information present on your report, if the accounts are removed that are negative, that means there is no negative information inputted into your score, which helps you to in turn improve your credit score. Now, if you need more information on trying to actually do that, I'm gonna send you guys to a video where I show you how you can try to work on getting something deleted from your credit report. Now, in summary, just to make sure you guys got everything, you don't want to make the first thing that you do trying to pay off accounts on your credit report, because you need to know that there are certain accounts that will have a negative effect on your credit score. Again, that has nothing to do with your liability to pay something, or if you just feel the obligation to go ahead and pay something. I'm merely telling you how it affects your credit score. If you try to pay any collections or charge-offs that are on your credit report, it will either have a negative effect on your credit score, or you will pay out all the money that you pay and see absolutely no change positive in your credit score. So ultimately, paying off those types of debts won't give you a big benefit. Now, the type of accounts that you do want to pay off that will actually help your credit score would be open accounts like credit cards and loans, especially if you're past due or behind a few months on either of those accounts. Those are things that actually paying those will help you to recover your credit score, stop the bleeding, and start getting to a better place. And if you have those negative accounts that paying them off won't help you out, what you want to do is you want to try to see if there's anything that is disputable on those accounts, to see if you might be able to get those accounts removed to keep them from damaging your credit score, to ultimately help you get to your credit score goal. And after that, get the thing that you needed to get, which could be that house, that car, that business loan, whatever it is that you were shooting for. And again, nobody has to remove anything off of your credit just because you paid it. You would have to find any errors or violations that might be there on a credit report in order to actually get something removed. And again, if you need help with that, check out the free ebook down in the description, or set up a credit consultation with us so we can see how we might be able to help you. Now, I hope this information was useful and valuable to you guys. If it was, leave a comment down below letting me know anything that you heard that you had not heard before, or anything that you found beneficial that you're going to try to do going forward. And don't forget to check out the next video where we'll be going over what it is that you do, or what it is that you use, or what it is that you want to look at to try to see about getting something removed from your credit report. Again, I thank you guys for your time, and I'll see you next time.